room. I didn't want his help. I needed the time to think, to plan. As I tidied, disinfected, scrubbed, and bleached, I drank 3 double shots of Rodney's scotch, 1 for each hour, and somehow managed to put a meal together afterward. Charlie ate it, then left. Sleep, eat, leave. That was the pattern now. Sunday, April 16, 1995, was the day I realized I could no longer cling to the reason I'd stayed so long. My son was no longer a child. I'd filled this home with handmade quilts, chutneys, stripped pine, and wicker baskets. I'd built this nest twig by twig for Charlie, but he no longer needed it, or cared for it. I wasn't sure if he cared for me anymore. When the cotton wool left my mouth, and the knot at the back of my head unravelled after too much single malt, it was time to taste the musty oak in a glass of Shiraz. Or 2. I set wine, a slice of bread, and a wedge of cheese on the table, and sat down to think some more. Then in came Rodney. "You're back," I said. "How is the golf?" "Good." He slammed his house keys onto the pine table I waxed every day and walked over to the microwave. "Is this my dinner?" He peered at the plate inside, then jabbed at the buttons to warm his meal. Mephistopheles snarled and Marguerite wailed. I'd put on opera, Gounod's Faust, and I'd turned it up good and loud, really loud, to help me think. Rodney snapped off my music, switched on the TV, and proceeded to watch the history of the Wolves Football Club. He stared ahead at the screen and twirled strings of pasta around his fork. The starchy ball wouldn't fit into his mouth, so he gobbled at it. His hair stuck up in tufts, and I tried to find it endearing. I tried to love the sound of his voice. "Kick the ball into the bloody net, you great fairy!" he growled, waving a fist. I tried to yearn for the touch of those thin lips that bristled with a moustache the texture of coconut husk. "Rod, look at me for a second." I searched for emotion in those milky eyes. "Charlie's party got out of hand." "Oh, dear." His eyes floated back to the TV. "Rod, they drank beer and more besides, and for some reason they stacked the cans in the dishwasher and dropped an empty bottle of vodka into the fish tank." "Goal! And about sodding time." "At least I think it was empty. Goldie seems none the worst, but Fred is swimming in spirals and Mabel is floating belly up. A couple of our lampshades are cracked, the brandy goblets are in pieces, and should we cut Charlie's allowance to pay for replacements?" "The referee's blowing the whistle. Would you bloody believe it?" "Isn't the game you're watching 3 years old? I'm afraid I smashed 9 plates. Someone peed in the kitchen, and you won't believe what else I found. 5 broken canisters, 4 exploded light bulbs." "They should sack that wanker." "Along with 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a condom in a pear tree." I think I was pretty drunk by then. "Rod," I said, "I feel a bit sick. I think I'll sleep on the sofa tonight." I made a bed with a quilt and pillow. When Velcro settled on my tummy, I closed my eyes and drifted onto the deck of a ship that bobbed and dipped, and when it lurched, I slipped into rolling waves. Water gurgled in my ears, but within minutes I shot to the surface and drank in air inside the kitchen of 75 Copper Lane. I climbed a spiral stairway because I saw a tiny door at the very top. I stumbled up the steps, fighting for breath because the atmosphere was heavier than lead. There was a table next to the door with a key lying on it, but when I reached out, it vanished. Searching for somewhere to escape, I saw a hole full of light, but the soil crumbled when I tried to scramble out, and I fell down, down, and dirt filled my mouth, and I couldn't shout out. I heard the hollow drip of water, and down, down I went. Part 1. The 60s. Chapter 1. 1965. Saturday, April 17. 33 Cherry Blossom Road, Dorton, United Kingdom, Europe, planet Earth. I bite my lip. "Can I have a suspender belt instead?" My mother, Biddy, runs her nail along the top of a packet to split open the cellophane. "You need a girdle for support," she says, pulling out a corset the colour of salmon paste. "And take that look off your face. It's a beautiful foundation garment." She pats her fresh hairdo, a lacquered helmet, before opening a second packet. Spirals of stitching, 3 sets of hooks, powernet panels, and long line, too. It's one hell of a bra. "Try it on," she says. I fasten it at the front, swivel it around, and pull the wide straps over my shoulders. My first bra, and I loathe it. "Mum, I really don't think I have enough to fill these cones yet." "They're called cups, Kate, and sure the size is only a small 32A. "The other girls have trainer bras." "Fine, and in 2 months they'll all need a good brassiere like yours." Snatching Biddy's shopping bag from the floor to see what else she bought, all I find are a couple of pastel twin sets, a pair of brown stirrup pants, and what's this? Drop earrings. All for her, nothing cool for me. A cheap shift dress would have been okay, one of those polka dot ones with a Peter Pan collar, or a trainer bra. "Kate, stop poking inside my bag." I pull out a leaflet before I stop poking. It shows a busty blonde skipping around Piccadilly Circus wearing nothing but my salmon paste set. "With the firmest control," she says, eyebrows arched, teeth flashing. "My cross-your-heart bra shapes and my girdle flattens." "Hey, Mum, did you see this? Shapes and flattens with the firmest control." "I read it in the shop," she mutters. "Don't I have enough control already? Forget the girdle. You're doing a great job." "What a smart aleck you are, Kate. Pity you're not as quick at school." Biddy claps her hands over her ears. "Would you turn down the music? That Mick Jagger Egypt gets on my nerves." Holding the gurgle by its suspenders, I dance toward the radio. Biddy's lips are all pinched and tight. "Stop jigging about half-naked," she says, "and put the girdle in your underwear drawer. Look after it nicely." Turning the radio down just a touch, I hear the soft thud of footsteps. "Your father's coming upstairs. Quick, cover yourself, Kate. He shouldn't be seeing you like this." "Like what?" She points at my chest and moves her finger in circles. "You mean Dad mustn't know I've grown breasts?" Biddy picks up a shopping bag. "Don't be disgusting. You know what I mean." Well, I suppose I do know what she means. Dad did look a bit upset last week when Aunt Shauna said, "Tom, will you just look at Kate? Sure, hasn't she got the loveliest little figure? And won't she be turning boys' heads soon?" Chapter 2. Friday, September 17. 5 months later, and my cross-your-heart bra still doesn't have enough to lift or separate, and the girdle kills, especially now, chafing the tops of my thighs as I climb up Briar Hill Lane. Me and Moira had to stay for detention after school because Father Flanagan caught us eating communion wafers during altar-cleaning duty. Moira didn't know what the fuss was about. Nothing had been consecrated. "It wasn't as if we were snacking on the body of Christ, miss," she told the headmistress. For that remark we were awarded an extra hour. Still, being late home has its advantages, because Barry Finch was on the same bus, and he's walking up the lane right behind me as I speak. The fab Barry Finch, I should add. What are the odds Moira will phone as soon as I get home, dying to know if he spoke to me? But damn, fat chance of that when I'm wearing a green blazer, pleated skirt and tie. Totally uncool. "Hey, nice uniform," he drawls. "Huh," I reply, finding it difficult to remain aloof when I can feel my stocking tops approaching my knees. I told Biddy the girdle was too long. I'm the 3rd shortest girl in my year, for God's sake. Hoity-toity, aren't we? He's walking alongside me now. Heat creeps up my neck and, oh, shit, I'm turning red. Keeping my head down, I study the scuff marks on my Mary Janes so he can't tell. "What's life like at Snobhurst Girls' School?" he asks. He wears drain-pipe jeans, a leather jacket, walks with his hands in his pockets. "Very funny," I say. "Shorehurst Roman Catholic School, actually." "For girls." He winks a green eye. Green eyes, black hair, thick eyebrows, dark skin, a Romeo, a Montague. No, on second thought, like Tony in West Side Story. My tummy does a somersault. "Your hair would